saw the prices go down 7.7% compared to the same time.
On average, prices are now dropping, so there's the good news.
The truck market is collapsing, and people have had enough of these overpriced trucks. Just look at the dealership lots. There is no buyer, but only some overpriced cars, and I am talking about all the big names: Ford, Ram, Toyota, and even the new EV models. No one wants them. Right now, everyone is thinking, are these trucks really worth their jaw-dropping price tags? Or are we on the brink of a market bubble that's about to burst? What's happening? Look, I know that rugged capabilities and state-of-the-art technology are hard to resist, but at what cost? Take the Ford F-150, for instance. For the upcoming 2024 model year, its base manufacturer's suggested retail price has skyrocketed to around $47,620. That is a whopping 39.4% jump since 2020. No wonder this trend has sparked a lot of worries among potential buyers and people in the industry. Will these prices be sustainable in the long run? And what does this mean for us? But most importantly, how did we get here? Well, the truck market has been on quite a wild ride for some time now, with some models experiencing jaw-dropping price increases of over 30% in just 2 years. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. As production ramps back up after the pandemic, one would think that supply would catch up with the growing demand, but that's not quite happening. Unfortunately, the supply of entry-level models simply hasn't kept pace, creating a scarcity that only serves to drive prices further into the stratosphere. It's particularly concerning for budget-conscious buyers, as inventories for affordable options like the Ford F-150 XL and the Chevrolet Silverado work truck continue to dwindle. This trend shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. First off, the COVID-19 pandemic threw a massive wrench into the supply chain, disrupting the availability of vital components like semiconductors. This shortage has resulted in manufacturing and shipping delays, leading frustrated buyers to search for used trucks, which then drives those prices up even more. But that's not all. There's also a spike in consumer demand across various industries, especially in construction and logistics. This heightened demand creates fierce competition for the available trucks, which inevitably pushes prices higher. And let's not forget about economic inflation, which plays a substantial role here. As the costs of materials and manufacturing continue to rise, manufacturers in turn pass those expenses onto consumers. All of these factors into the complex pricing strategies we're seeing today. What did they do about it? Well, major players in the truck market, including Ford, Chevy, and Ram, have adopted pricing strategies that some critics argue may border on price gouging. Some companies are deliberately limiting the production of their entry-level models, aiming to rake in higher profits on their more expensive vehicles. For example, the Ram 1500 Classic saw a staggering 26% price hike from 2019 to 2023, coinciding with an 88% drop in its inventory. Similarly, the base price of the 2022 Chevrolet Silverado saw an increase of 15% in just a few months. While these strategies might pad the bottom line for manufacturers, they risk alienating budget-conscious buyers, raising some serious ethical concerns about pricing practices in an industry that's already under the microscope. As they focus on squeezing profit margins, companies could lose loyal customers who feel locked out of the market altogether. Again, just look at the Ford F-150. It's a prime example of how these trends are playing out. Back in December 2021, its base manufacturer's suggested retail price was around $29,990, but by 2024, it had shot up to approximately $47,620, a staggering increase of nearly 58% in just 3 years. To add to this pressure, many buyers are facing financing challenges, as it is common for monthly payments to exceed $1,000. This makes truck ownership feel increasingly unattainable for middle-class consumers. The numbers don't lie. Sure, there's been an uptick in truck sales, especially for those higher-end models that come loaded with features, but if you've been shopping for an affordable base model, you might notice they are becoming pretty hard to come by. Think about the Ford F-150 XL and the Ram 1500 Tradesman. Their production simply hasn't been able to keep up with demand, and that's causing a real shortage that's driving prices up, and away from reach. Recent reports show that the inventory for these base models has dropped alarmingly, down to just 54% and 23% of what we saw before the pandemic. This lack of availability pushes buyers toward more expensive options, which, believe it or not, works out pretty well for manufacturers, boosting their profit margins but creating affordability challenges for everyday consumers. When we dive deeper into the numbers behind average truck prices, the story gets even more intriguing. Industry reports indicate that the average price of a new truck has surged dramatically, with some models experiencing increases exceeding 20% since the pandemic took hold. According to the National Automobile Dealers Association, by the middle of 2023, the average transaction price for light trucks reached about $48,000, contrasting sharply with pre-pandemic pricing levels. This shift highlights a significant divide in access to affordable vehicles, forcing many buyers to rethink their options in a market increasingly crowded with pricey models. But wasn't the economy made to fight these types of things? I mean, capitalism puts a lid on these types of things using competition, right? Well, let's talk about it. Market war. In the middle of all of this, the battle for market share has ramped up significantly. Auto companies are strategically changing gears, focusing on producing those high-trim models that yield bigger profit margins. This trend, cheekily dubbed trimflation, has seen entry-level truck prices jump as much as 40%. So now, the competitive scene feels like a race, with manufacturers fighting to win over customers who are willing to shell out more for luxe features and enhanced comforts instead of seeking the basics. Take brands like Chevrolet and GMC, for example. They've rolled out premium versions of their trucks, like the Chevrolet Silverado High Country and the GMC Sierra Denali, which come with an array of fancy features that justify their higher price tags. This shift is more than just a trend. It's changing brand loyalty and nudging consumers to reconsider their buying choices. People are now standing back and asking themselves whether those extra features are worth the inflated prices or if they should hunt for alternatives in a dwindling selection of budget-friendly options. Now, let's zoom in on how dealerships are adapting to these shifting sands. They're getting creative, looking for ways to draw in buyers who might feel a bit unsure about making a purchase right now. Many dealers have started using aggressive discounting tactics on those higher trim models to get sales moving and clear out their inventory. This strategy isn't just about slashing prices, it's part of a bigger trend where dealerships are walking a tightrope, trying to keep their profits up while also considering the growing frustration of consumers who are pushed back by rising prices. The removal of popular base models has created a real sense of dissatisfaction among buyers. They're understandably upset about finding fewer choices out there and facing inflated costs for the trucks that are available. Now, dealerships are not merely in the business of selling trucks anymore, they're also charged with the important task of rebuilding trust and loyalty among consumers who are struggling with affordability issues. It's tough out there. Many dealers are looking for creative ways to appeal to potential customers. For instance, some are exploring alternative financing options or throwing in sweet incentives like extended warranties or maintenance packages. These added perks can be game changers for buyers who are hesitant about high initial costs. They make the overall offer a lot more attractive. On top of that, dealerships are realizing how crucial it is to be transparent about their pricing and inventory. By offering clearer insights into their pricing structures and showcasing potential savings on those higher trim models compared to the base options, dealerships aim to restore confidence in consumers who might feel overwhelmed by current market conditions. Knowledge is power, and the more informed buyers are, the better they can make decisions that suit their wallets. Now, you might think that you could just buy a pre-owned car, right? Well, let's talk about it. The used car market. Well, this is also a chaos for buyers and dealers. One of the biggest names in the industry, CarMax, is facing some serious financial hurdles. Once hailed as a leader in the used car space, CarMax has seen a sharp decline in unit sales over the past few years. This downturn is largely due to changing consumer preferences and skyrocketing prices for new vehicles. Shoppers are now leaning towards competitively priced new trucks, which has made CarMax's inventory appear less attractive in comparison. For a bit of context, during the pandemic, CarMax had a banner year, raking in a staggering $20,320 million in revenue in 2020. Fast forward to 2023, and the story has taken a drastic turn. Its net income has nosedived by more than 50%, landing at roughly $400 million. This decline paints a clear picture of the challenges facing CarMax and signals a broader crisis in the market. See, lack of affordable vehicles. Rising interest rates are discouraging potential buyers from making purchases, which is hitting CarMax hard. Fewer customers are opting for used cars, and it shows. In same-store sales plummeted by over 20%. This situation not only affects CarMax, but also sheds light on a wider trend across the entire used car market, where affordability has become a critical concern for many shoppers. Inflated prices of new trucks are changing how consumers approach their buying decisions. As manufacturers focus more on high-margin vehicles and pull back on producing accessible base models, shoppers are finding themselves with fewer options in the used car landscape. This has led to a growing belief that new vehicles, despite their higher price tags, may actually offer better value for money. Consumers today are increasingly leaning toward purchasing newer models rather than older used vehicles, and this trend is especially clear among younger buyers. These shoppers are often more willing to invest in new cars that promise the latest technology and better warranty coverage. Remember all the discounts and creative things that the dealers are coming up with? Currently, the automotive market is a complex mix of pricing strategies and consumer behaviors. Prices for used cars have soared, reaching around $28,000 at their peak. With numbers like that, many consumers are feeling priced out of the market altogether. The combination of high vehicle prices and rising interest rates is placing immense pressure on affordability, significantly dampening the demand for used cars. In light of these challenges, CarMax and similar companies are looking to adapt in various ways. They're enhancing their digital presence, which is vital in today's market, and diversifying their inventory to include more affordable vehicle options. One strategy involves boosting the selection of certified pre-owned vehicles, which could draw in budget-conscious buyers still looking for quality without breaking the bank. There is also the potential for market consolidation, which might create opportunities for larger entities like CarMax to absorb smaller competitors that are struggling in this tough landscape. By leveraging their scale, CarMax could strengthen its market position and gain access to new customer bases, helping to stabilize its operations despite the up-and-down demand. As new truck prices stay high and accessible options dwindle, consumers are rapidly being attracted to new vehicles that seem to promise better value and features. This shift is creating a whirlwind of uncertainty in the used car market, making it increasingly challenging for companies like CarMax to reclaim their once powerful status. The next few years are going to be crucial as CarMax navigates these financial trials and adjusts its business model to accommodate the changing market landscape and meet consumer needs effectively. And let's be honest, this applies to the whole used car market. But what does this mean to you? Well, consumer reluctance to shell out money for new trucks has really ramped up recently, and it doesn't stop there. We've got some broader economic issues at play too. With rising inflation and a shaky job market, potential buyers are feeling the weight of these factors as they make their decisions. They find themselves stuck in a dilemma, weighing their financial stability against the risk of taking on new debt. This has caused many to hit the pause button on purchases or hold on to older vehicles longer than they originally planned. Recent surveys show that more than 60% of consumers are unwilling to spend over $40,000 on a pickup truck, which reveals a strong desire for affordability in a climate that's become financially challenging. Along with fears of an economic downturn, there's another layer of anxiety unraveling consumer sentiment. As interest rates keep rising, concerns about monthly payments have intensified. Financing a new truck has become pricier, which directly impacts how much buyers have to pay each month. This makes it harder for many to justify making new purchases, even when there are discounts on the table. Many buyers are looking at the overall costs and finding that it still stretches beyond what they feel comfortable handling financially. Now let's turn our attention to some cold, hard numbers. Average transaction prices for trucks are soaring, often surpassing $60,000. Again, look at the F-150 XLT. This model has seen a remarkable increase in its price over the years. From 1990 to now, while the consumer price index for new cars climbed by about 43%, the price of the F-150 XLT skyrocketed by an incredible 231%. These price hikes have led countless consumers, many of whom relied heavily on their pickup trucks for both work and personal use, to think twice about their purchasing choices. Just imagine the stress that puts on consumers trying to figure out how to juggle those monthly payments with all their other financial obligations. So instead of trading up, they're opting to hold onto their current vehicles, motivated by both emotional ties and financial realities. All of this is tough on the consumer and the dealers too. So when asked about this situation, all the automakers have to say is that they are in a transitional phase. They are laser focused on becoming an EV maker, and of course, the market is going to go through some roller coaster of a ride. But let's talk about that for a sec. The EV revolution. The electric vehicle revolution is here. But why is it happening? Now, I know this is a bit controversial, but more and more consumers are falling head over heels for electric vehicles. Climate change is a massive issue on everyone's minds, and it's pushing people to seek out sustainable transportation solutions. Electric trucks produce zero tailpipe emissions, which means they don't pollute the air the way traditional diesel trucks do. Diesel trucks are actually responsible for around 25% of the transportation emissions in the United States, making the move toward electric trucks not only appealing but absolutely necessary for the environment. As more folks, both individuals and businesses, recognize how their choices impact the planet, the attraction to electric trucks becomes even stronger. But what about the money? Now, EVs are quickly becoming known for their cost efficiency. Battery electric trucks are proving to be a savvy choice in the long run, thanks to lower operating costs tied to fuel and maintenance. Electric motors are designed to be way more energy efficient than those traditional internal combustion engines, meaning fleet operators can pocket some serious savings over time. The total cost of ownership for electric trucks is looking better every day as fuel prices rise. In fact, the US Department of Energy estimates that these electric trucks can save operators up to a whopping 50% on fuel costs compared to diesel trucks. In today's world, where every dollar counts, this kind of financial incentive is hard to ignore for businesses that want to optimize their operations. Many governments are getting in on the action by actively encouraging EV adoption through a variety of sweet deals, including tax credits, grants, and subsidies. These policies make electric vehicles financially attractive, encouraging both businesses and individual consumers to switch from traditional vehicles to electric ones. For example, in the US, federal tax credits can shave up to $7,500 off the price of an electric truck. That's a pretty big deal. Some states even offer additional incentives, making the shift to electric vehicles even more appealing. These kinds of initiatives create a welcoming environment for anyone who's hesitant about going electric. And then there's the exciting innovation happening in the tech world, which is significantly improving the practicality of electric trucks. We're seeing rapid advancements in battery technology and charging infrastructure, which are tackling previous worries about charging times and vehicle performance. Take Tesla's supercharger network, for instance. It allows for super fast charging that can revitalize a vehicle's battery in under an hour. This means that long distance travel is no longer a worry for electric truck users. As these technologies keep getting better, the argument for adopting electric vehicles gets even stronger. So how does this impact the automakers? With consumer demand for electric vehicles skyrocketing, traditional truck manufacturers are starting to rethink their strategies and product lines. Big players like Ford, Daimler, and Volvo are sinking serious money into developing electric truck models. This shift isn't just a reaction to what consumers want, it's a strategic move to stay competitive in a market that's increasingly focused on sustainability. Ford, for example, has committed to investing over $11 billion in electrification efforts by 2025, planning to roll out numerous new electric models tailored to what buyers are looking for. But making EVs is hard, and these manufacturers are struggling, so they focus on making high-profit trucks and SUVs, then take that money and dump it into their EV operations. And companies that don't hop on this electrification train might find themselves in hot water, potentially losing ground to newer brands that focus specifically on electric vehicles. The expected doubling of electric truck models by 2023 shows that established brands really need to innovate or risk becoming irrelevant. Startups like Rivian and Nikola are already capturing attention with their forward-thinking electric truck designs that cater to sustainability-minded consumers. It's a competitive scene where innovation is key, and as competition heats up in the EV market, companies that historically focused on traditional trucks have to reconsider their pricing strategies. Sure, electric trucks require a hefty upfront investment because of battery costs, but with economies of scale and technological leaps, prices are expected to come down. Industry experts believe that by 2030, electric trucks and diesel models could be on equal footing in terms of price. How cool would that be? And one way they are going to do that is with a new sales approach: direct to consumer. See, the automotive industry is experiencing a remarkable shift driven primarily by Tesla's groundbreaking direct-to-consumer sleaze model. By sidestepping the traditional dealership structure that has long dominated car sales, Tesla is reshaping everything about how vehicles are sold and serviced. Instead of leaning on independent dealerships, which often come with their own complications, Tesla manages its own stores. This allows the company to connect with consumers directly. What does this mean for you? It means a smoother buying process and a much improved customer experience. Tesla eliminates hassles like franchise fees and dealer markup, providing a transparent pricing system that resonates with those frustrated by the confusing ways traditional car buying often works. But let's not kid ourselves. This disruptive approach hasn't come without some pushback. Traditional dealerships are fighting back with legal challenges and lobbying efforts, clinging to their established business model. They argue that their presence is vital for consumers since they claim to offer competitive prices and the ability to test drive vehicles. Despite these assertions, plenty of buyers are reporting dissatisfaction with the typical dealership experience. High-pressure sales tactics and murky pricing are common complaints, leading to a growing acceptance of Tesla's direct-to-consumer model and its advantages. This transition is encouraging other electric vehicle manufacturers, like Rivian and Lucid Motors, to think about using similar direct-to-consumer strategies, pointing to an industry-wide shift. The effects of Tesla's direct-to-consumer model reach far beyond just their sales numbers. They're encouraging traditional automakers to reconsider how they distribute their vehicles in light of changing consumer preferences. For instance, Ford is stepping up by planning to sell its electric vehicles at fixed prices, eliminating the need for haggling and guesswork. Luxury brands like Mercedes-Benz and BMW are also catching on, contemplating agency models that enable online purchases directly from manufacturers. This trend shows a significant movement toward direct sales in the automotive realm, all spurred by consumers' desires for both convenience and clarity. This could mean bidding farewell to the traditional dealership experience altogether. When that happens, the market might transform into a more competitive place, where manufacturers gain greater control over their pricing and how they engage with customers. In addition, as laws regarding direct sales for electric vehicles become more lenient in different states, buyers will likely enjoy even more options to purchase their vehicles straight from manufacturers, without any middlemen getting involved. Plus, tech advancements are making online car buying experiences better than ever. You can now easily customize and order your vehicle from the comfort of your couch. For instance, Tesla's online configurator lets customers create their dream vehicles based on personal preferences, making the buying process incredibly straightforward and enjoyable. The idea of a direct relationship between consumers and manufacturers could fundamentally change how customer loyalty and brand interaction work in the automotive world. If traditional dealerships don't catch on and adapt to these shifting trends, they might find themselves becoming obsolete. A great example of this shift is Volvo's recent announcement to begin selling its vehicles directly to consumers in select European markets. This new approach includes options for online sales, home delivery, and smaller retail outlets where customers can easily test drive and purchase vehicles. No dealership involved. But this goes even deeper than that. By steering clear of third-party dealerships, this model limits the price inflation that often comes from dealer markups. So every dollar spent goes straight to getting that actual truck, not lining the pockets of a dealership. Plus, it opens the door for more transparency, making it easier for buyers to compare prices and options. Given the current overpriced state of trucks, this means more affordable choices might just be a click away. Automakers are trying to eat their cake and keep it too. They are making very high-profit ICE trucks and trying to make this new sales happen, so they could take the profits that usually get lost on dealerships too. The truck market is especially affected by these things. But what's your thoughts on this? Let's know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video.